Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome to another Q8 pilot stream. It's been a while, and I'm incredibly excited this evening to introduce a real world pilot, a scenery developer, an X-Plane scenery developer, that is. We have with us today, ladies and gents, Captain Lee Miles. Captain, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Thanks for asking. And welcome everyone in chat. We have with us Boeing Corp, Mike, Rand Cooley, Stan, William Colbert, UVP Digital. Welcome aboard. Tika, welcome aboard. Lightspeed Airbus 737. We have also today Brent Norman. It's been a while, my friend. How are you doing from Canada? Welcome aboard. So, folks, today we are going to be speaking to Captain Lee. Captain Lee is a developer and the owner of Tierware Designs. I'm not sure if it's a company, Captain, but Tierware Designs is the motto or the slogan is "Free is the way we like it." Isn't that correct, Captain?
Yes, it is, because everyone likes free stuff, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm going to begin today by asking you, Captain, to maybe introduce yourself to the community and tell us a little bit about your background as a pilot and how you started with scenery development for X-Plane. How do you find it? How difficult or easy it is? The mic is yours.
All right, sweet. So I'm 18 years old. I'm Lee. I'm from the United States on the East Coast. Um, very. I started flying a few years ago. I was with my brother actually. We were flying a Piper Archer. I just was very interested on that aspect of flying. I was like 12, 13. He started letting me sit left seat. And then after that, he went off to college. We still flew every now and then. And then I just started flying the System 172 at a local flying club that I lived by. Went over there. Um, and that was pretty much it from there. We just kept flying, and I just kept getting the aspect of having fun and enjoyed it from there. How I started scenery development was I basically, um, at one point, I really wanted
Tower
to
4
get
Bravo
my
777, 180
hometown
degrees at
made.
5 knots runway
And
280.
so I asked around, and finally someone made it for me for free. Um, and it looked okay. I liked it. And then after that, I was like, I want to make it better. So I kind of just took from what I had and kind of just started off. And then about a year break, I teamed up with AeroX with their Houston. I was one of the initial release guys for the payware on the store. Went okay. It was a good learning experience, but wasn't really pleased. After that, I just kind of went off and just did a lot of flights, didn't really do any development. And then I contacted some Microsoft Flight Sim developers, asked them to convert their freeware projects. They said yes. And I just kind of went off from there. So I got Tierware Designs, the name. It's actually about to be a company. I just announced my first payware project over on Facebook. Um, so I got that name because I really like attention to detail with dirt, tar lines, just stuff like that. So that's how I got the name. Um, Explain development is something that's not easy, but it's not difficult. With World Editor, very easy format to kind of work around. It's not hard at all. Very efficient, straightforward. You lay your polygons, which is your ground textures. Get your lines for the taxi lines, edge lines, just stuff like that. So it's very straightforward. I do actually have a web tutorial up on my YouTube channel. So if anyone's interested, just look up, go on my channel, and it's there. A lot of people has gave me good feedback about that. So that, but explain development can be difficult, especially for the mesh. I do have a mesh guy. I somewhat know how to do mesh, but the mesh part is very difficult because X-Plane uses, DSF format, which is very difficult. But other than that, not very bad. But I really thoroughly enjoy it, and I love and really appreciate every single one of you. So thank you all. Q8.
Thank you very much. That was a pretty interesting introduction as to how you started with scenery development. I have got to ask you this question, Captain. Now, I understand there is a lot of time invested in the development of scenery, aircraft, and you are doing this completely for free. So,
Yes.
are you just driven by sheer passion for, for the sim or for the development or for sharing, your talent with the community? How do you get, any compensation for your time?
This is honestly a question I was kind of honestly really thinking about was going to get asked to me. So I kind of do it for a lot of reasons. And one of them is I really like, giving back to the community because when I came from P3D back in, I think, 2018-ish, 2017. I came from P3D because it's expensive. It's a very good sim with their high fidelity aircraft. It was just I was young back then. I didn't have a job, so I couldn't afford everything. So I looked at X-Plane to look at the freeware community, and I was like, okay, cool, let's do this. So I got the Zebo, got X-Plane, got a bunch of freeware stuff, and so after that, um, I was like, okay, so I flew for a few years on X-Plane, and I was like, all right, now it's my turn to give back to the community. When I joined X-Plane, that was like a warm welcome saying, hey, welcome to X-Plane. By the way, here's a bunch of good freeware stuff. So I kind of wanted to give back as a way of saying thank you. Love the X-Plane community. Very, very good community. I like it. But I also do payware stuff on the side of things. So I enjoy both. There's really not one that I prefer. I really don't mind doing either one. Scenery is just to me it's therapy. In WED, I don't know if anyone in chat does WED themselves, but I kind of count WED as coloring in the missing stuff, right? So when you're placing ground textures or polygons or taxi lines, you're literally just coloring that in from the reference image that you're using. So it's just therapy to me. I just really like giving back to the community. It's good. And it's weird though because I never fly into airports that I make. Never.
Oh, really?
I never
That's
do.
interesting.
I never do. I don't know because I'm scared that if I go flying into it, I'll be like, wow, this looks like crap. Or if I fly it into it, I'll be like, wow, that's missing. Or so I don't know. I never fly into the airports that I make. I do not know why. I just don't. But yeah, that pretty much is that.
Wow, that's very interesting, and I do thank you for your contributions to the community. I think I always support developers in the flight sim community, but specifically those who develop freeware. We know, for example, Zebo is one of the most respected figures in our community for creating the Zebo, and I've looked at your scenery, and some of them are quite impressive, including the ones we're flying to today in France. And I do want to recognize Ubaid Al Mansouri for your super chat there, 74.99 AED. Thank you so very much, Ubaid, for your super chat. I appreciate it. We have also joining us today Jeff Smith and Pip. Welcome aboard, guys. Glad to have you here with us this evening. And Allison Johnson. Hello, my friend. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you here. And guys, for those of you who do not know who Allison Johnson is, she is a fellow content creator. She's got a brilliant, brilliant Twitch channel, and I thoroughly enjoy her content. Please do visit her Twitch channel. And we have also a man that needs no introduction, Dougal McTavish. Welcome aboard, my friend. Glad to have you here. And chat, if you can, moderators, if any of you can, please post the link to Allison's Twitch channel here in chat so people can visit her channel. Thank you for your contributions, Allison, to the community. You do a very good service to the community. All right. Okay, so a quick brief on our flight today, ladies and gents. We are going to be departing Charles de Gaulle Airport here in Paris, France, and we are going to be heading to, I'm not sure how to say this, Montpellier? Is it Montpellier? Montpellier? I'm not sure how to say it. But it's Lima Foxtrot Mike Tango, and this is one of the freeware sceneries created by Captain Lee. A link in the description of the stream is available to you to download this freeware scenery, and there's also a link that will take you to a page that lists all the freeware scenery developed by Captain Lee. All right, so we are pretty much ready to go here. Let me set up our perf page here. We're going to remove that one here. We're going to set the, what was our altitude today? By the way, chat, if you have any questions for Captain Lee, please fire away, and we'll be sure to answer them. Okay, so 35,000 feet is our final cruise altitude today. It looks like it started raining here. 35,000. All right, so Captain Lee, I have a question that I've always wondered about the development of scenery. How does it start? Do you actually go and I know, for example, the layout in X-Plane 12 of the airports is pretty spot on. But what do you actually do? Do you go and, look at photos of the actual airport? And how do you look at the buildings? How do you do that? What is the process of developing the software, the scenery?
So it's a very long, lengthy, thorough process. It's a matter of there's three things, and it kind of falls under economics. You got your supply and demand, right? So those two things is very thorough in a business. If anyone in chat or even UQ8 is familiar with supply and demand and how economics works, it can really go into scenery as well. So first off, when we try to find an airport, we don't want to do something that is not enough in demand and doesn't really have enough routes. So if it's a very small airport with a bunch of routes, then yes, that's a perfect airport. But if it's a big airport, not really many routes, bunch of seasonal routes, stuff like that, it's not worth it. So after, we numb it down to a bunch of airports, we numb it down to that, top three, we just choose one. And then after that, we actually use Google Earth to reference the 3D imagery. Of course, some airports don't have the 3D detail, which depending on the airport, it can be hard, it can be easy, just depends on how many references we can find on Google or even YouTube. I know a lot of big developers like AnyBuilds, Orbix, all those guys, they actually go to the airport and take pictures. Sadly, with us doing this for free, we really don't have that that pleasure to go to the airport. But we use a bunch of reference pictures. We use a bunch of YouTube's videos, just all of that kind of stuff. And for modeling, I'm not a modeler. I have someone else do it for me. But we use Blender to actually create the building, and then we use Substance Painter to texture those, and then we export it, and then I get the files and then put it in WED, which actually puts it in the sim. So I'm the guy that puts everything in the sim. So everything you see at my sceneries, that's everything I've placed. Um, so it's a very thoughtful process as well, because you know if you want to create your own textures, you got to go to the substance, create your own textures, make sure it's okay, make sure there's no weird normal maps, which is kind of like PBR kind of in a way. It's more of how it is. So yeah, that's basically the process. It's nothing easy. That's for sure. Um, like before, when I was working with FS Designs, we released Jacksonville. Before we started on Jacksonville, it took us a good probably 2 weeks to figure out which airport we would want to do. We were just back and forth on a few, and we really didn't know. But me personally, for Freeware Designs, it's I just kind of choose smaller airports, like regionals. Those are one of my favorites. Love regionals just because I love the CRJ. So yeah, that's pretty much the process.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Very interesting process, and it sounds like it's a very laborious process as well.
For sure. It's
Okay.
now if anyone's interested in the time it takes for me to do an airport, so I did Buffalo and Montpellier, the one we're actually flying into. I did Buffalo and this one at the same time in the course of a month. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, that's not bad, but that was on weekends, 10+ hour days, overnights, late hour nights, early mornings before school. I was sick one day from school, so I stayed home and worked all day on it. So it's just like I was just constant, just working on it. Definitely not something that I would suggest in school. But I just had every single opportunity I had, I was working on it. Because like I said, scenery development it's therapy to me. It's my depression pill to me. That's really what it is. Because it's really interesting that you see default scenery compared to third parties, and it's just like the most satisfying feeling going from that to a high quality third party. So yeah. That's that.
Wow. Right, we started the pushback. Glenn, this airport is Charles de Gaulle Airport, LFPG. And we have with us today Stan and Alex. Welcome, guys. Glad to have you here.
Hello asked me, are you planning to do any airports in Asia or Africa? I feel like those areas the world could get some love with an X-plane. So Africa, no. Asia, yes. Sadly, can't say anything right now, but I am doing some stuff over there. Can't say when. Within a few months. Within actually probably a couple months or something. Just can't really say the exact airport. Can't say what company, all that stuff. But yeah, that's that. And someone said that the Freeware Designs Cleveland is the best thing about Ohio, and it's free. Yes, Cleveland was. It's honestly one of our most famous sceneries. That one was a long road, a long road for sure.
Disconnecting tow, standby.
Excellent. That's quite a bit. So let me ask you this question, because I have seen in the community where developers kind of don't talk to each other a lot, and that is something that sometimes bugs me, Captain. Is where you see, for example, there is a Southampton airport gets developed by a developer, and then you see another developer announcing Southampton airport. Or you see an aircraft being developed, like a freeware aircraft being developed by, developers such as yourselves that are just completely driven by passion. And then you see a payware company coming and developing the same aircraft for the sim. So let me ask you this. When you actually develop an airport, do you ever consider if there is a payware airport already or another developer? And do you feel sort of bummed down when a big company goes and develops the scenery that you have developed for free, and you've spent obviously countless hours to develop that scenery?
This is this is a question I actually get in my DMs a few times. My first actual like huge release for Taylor Designs was, I think, over a year ago. It was Buffalo Niagara. But the thing is any builds actually released their Buffalo before I even started on my
So
Buffalo
disconnected
scenery.
and bypass pin has been removed.
So it was kind of
Signal on the
interesting
right. We'll
because
see you next time on
Buffalo was
Navigraph.
actually the first airport I flew to commercially, like that Delta MD-80 from Atlanta to Buffalo. So Buffalo just had a special place in my heart. So I still did Buffalo. I still went through it all. Still did my best on it. Of course, I would like to go back and redo those airports eventually, just because I have learned more. I have my own library now, so it's one of those things. And when I do look at new airports to do, I do see if anyone else has made it. If there is, I actually look at the pictures and see if I can beat that quality. Because if it's payware, more than likely everyone already has it. Or if you sadly can't afford it, then that's where I could come along and do it. But it's the fact of, is that downloads necessary, right? So it's just kind of the point of, and sadly, and this is very common in Microsoft Flight Simulator, we got at least 2 of every single airport almost at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We got 3 Philadelphias. We got, let's see, I think there's some European airports that has like 2 or 3 of the same airport, just different developers. Honestly, it's very expected in Microsoft, just because of the developer, the market of it is just so broad, right? There is so many developers over on Microsoft that it's very hard to communicate between developers when there's so many. There's a lot. I think there's more developers in Microsoft than X-Plane had at its peak. So it does kind of bum me out, when I do see that someone is already thinking about it, or even started on it. I want to do Reno scenery for X-Plane, but someone was already working on it, so we haven't heard anything for a while. So I'm actually close to starting it, but not sure if I really want to go through with it. So yeah, it's just one of those things where I like to, and I have contacted developers before and asked, and they always reply to me. It's very nice though. But over there on Microsoft, it's very hard for them to reply, because it's Microsoft, so I'm sure they have loads of support emails. They have all kinds of stuff to do. It's crazy. And this is honestly one reason why I'm staying over on X-Plane development side, is just because of the oversaturation it is on Microsoft compared to X-Plane. Because if I went to Microsoft, I'd have to worry about, is anyone else developing this, or is someone going to release it spur at the moment before I do? Just all this stuff, right? So yeah, it's it's definitely something that kind of bums me out. But I mean, it bums a lot of people out too. So it's just kind of it's kind of like a gamble that you take, honestly. It's kind of like a casino. It's a gamble.
Wow, there's a lot of involvement in what you do, and obviously it does take a lot of your time, takes a lot of your effort, and I'm just amazed the fact that you do this completely out of passion and wanting to give something back to the community. That is really commendable. I really salute you for that, especially that you're doing all of it for absolutely free of charge.
Thank you. Yeah, free of charge. When I first started, I was kind of thinking, yeah, just 2 airports and that's it. But after, because I got in contact with a Microsoft developer on freeware.co, and they were like, well, here's all the models and have fun. I was like, oh, so I had like 3 airports.
Oh, wow.
I already had like three different airports for the models to do. Like Montpellier, the models are actually from Microsoft. Fun fact, it's converted over. So it's when I started, I was gonna do just 2 or 3, and that was it. But then it just they just kept coming to me, and they were like, "Here's more, here's more." I got in contact with another developer, and they were like, "Oh yeah, here's Knoxville models," and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then he just I have like 6 GA airports to do with his models. I just haven't had time because I've been working on payware stuff currently in my hometown. That's actually about to release soon. I do have a release coming this week. KHMP, it's the Laminar Speedway down in Georgia. NASCAR goes there, so if you're a fan of NASCAR, or if you know about NASCAR, then it's the airport right beside that speedway. So that's releasing this week. I'm not going to say the day, but it is coming this week. So that is that.
That's pretty cool. Would want to recommend the Toliss A320 or 319. Any Toliss aircraft at this point would be. I think Toliss has recently brought all their aircraft to the same level of fidelity, and they've updated all their aircraft to include the SimBrief integration and all that. Toliss is a great developer. It's a great company, really. And I love their products. I love their passion, their commitment to the hobby, and yeah, it doesn't come cheap, and that's because of the depth of system simulation and the time that they spend developing the add-on. By the way, Captain Lee, what do you think of this Time Model airport, Charles de Gaulle Airport by Time Models? What do you think of it?
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, I think it's a nice airport. I think Time Models is one of the greatest developers for X-Plane. They produce very, very nice airports.
They've definitely gotten better since their first
absolutely,
stuff,
yeah,
for sure.
This is one of their first airports for X-Plane. So I think they've really excelled since then.
They really have. I have their Sydney, and it's very good. Their recent stuff is spectacular. I do hope that they go back to their older stuff though, and kind of do a version 2 of it. But time will tell, right?
All right, ladies and gents, we are lined up runway 27 left, and we are cleared for takeoff. Right, 50%. Manflex 67, SRS, and runway. V1. Rotate. Positive rate of climb. Gears going up. That is a lovely departure out of Charles de Gaulle. Right, we're going to continue our climb. Thrust climb is set. ATC transponder on standby. That, of course, is my bad. There we go. And autopilot 1 is engaged. Speed check, flaps up. And we can disarm the ground spoilers. And if the sim sounds are too loud, maybe we can bring those down a little bit. Let's see here. Yeah, let me bring those down. That way you can hear us better. All right, so we continue now the climb, ladies and gents, to 35,000 feet. We forgot our engine mode selector there. Let's put the packs on normal, and everything's looking good. We're approaching our transition altitude, so Barrow to standard there, and all is looking good. Look at that. You gotta love that wing view. All right, back in the cockpit. All right, so autopilot is engaged. Everything's looking good, and yeah, everything is in order. 250 knots as we approach 10,000 feet. I'm going to go ahead and kill the landing lights. Nose light is off. Runway turn-off lights are off, and the rest of the lights can remain on. Okay, good stuff. Let's see here. Chat. Honestly hoping for an A380 or A330. Yep. Is Toliss working on a new project at the current moment? I do not know, honestly. If you like Airbus Toliss. All right. So Captain Lee, you have now created a number of freeware scenery for X-Plane. Can you share with us a little bit of a roadmap as to what can we expect in the coming days?
Well, currently I am finishing up one KHMP. It's very interesting airport for sure. It's definitely not something that you would kind of expect, but it is actually a NASCAR track. So if anyone's familiar with NASCAR, so that is coming sometime this week. There's a lot of business jets that go in there, by the way. I have loads of pictures of Challengers going in, Gulfstreams, all kinds of stuff. We get celebrities coming in here all the time. We got the Lowe's CEO that came in here not so long ago. I met him. Very cool dude. But so yeah, like if you're a business jet guy and you like business jets, flying into there will definitely be a fun one. Doing the RNAV for runway 24. Great arrival. Another one is I have some other GA that I'll be doing after this. But of course, you know, Tailware Designs, we're actually doing our first payware project. We actually got two in the works. The first one actually was just announced not too long ago. I just announced it. It was for, it's Amarillo, Texas. So a lot of Southwest hops you can definitely do. The next one is not ready for announcement, but I would definitely keep everything posted. But you know, also alongside I'll be doing some freeware GA stuff as well. So definitely going to be interesting in the next couple months to see where this goes. But we're getting there slowly but surely with some payware stuff. But do keep in mind, I ain't going fully payware. I'm still going to be releasing freeware stuff as well. So it's going to be kind of a bit of a both. both situations.
I see. Well, it's very comforting to know that you're going to continue to develop freeware, because I think one of the things that will keep X-Plane going, at least in the foreseeable future, is the fact that it's got still a community that develops absolutely for free with, with just great, massive passion, such as yourself. And that is something I admire, both in developers who develop scenery as well as aircraft. So, an interesting question for you, Captain. And I've done a poll recently on the community tab, asking, what do you guys think about Laminar's recent increase in price? Now, for me, let me tell you, now, by the way, the results came pretty much divided, leaning more towards favoring the price increase and finding it to be a justified move from Laminar. From my perspective, just very quickly, and I'm not going to say I'm going to dedicate a full stream for that, discussing this point, but I'd like to hear your opinion. We've had about I've had X-Plane since version 10.2, and so it's been about, I've been simming with X-Plane since 2014, so it's been quite a while. It's been a decade, and the price of the sim hasn't changed. Now, they did charge the same amount for newer versions, but for the lifetime of a version, so for X-Plane, from X-Plane 00 all the way to the launch of X-Plane 11, all of the updates were free. And the same thing goes for X-Plane 11. And for X-Plane 12, for the most part, until October 31st, the price is $59.99. So what are your thoughts on this price increase? Do you think it's warranted? What do you think?
I honestly think it's, I honestly really do think it's a good idea. Because they even came out that they're gonna hire some, more employees, to, kind of start expanding on the X-Plane simulator. So, they're gonna change some things, adjust some things, and I know we do have a lot of good things coming for the sim. So it's definitely a good decision on their part, and I always run by, you get what you pay for. Like, flight sim can be expensive, no matter what sim you go to. I've easily spent at least $2,000 on X-Plane. It's absurd, but I believe that you get what you pay for, and if you use it, you get your monies out of it, right? So it's definitely something that I'm not too bummed out about. I know a lot of people are, kind of mad at the fact they are raising the price, but it does give them an opportunity to invest into bigger, broader things, start adding some new features that they never really had, help out with a bunch of stuff. There's all kinds of stuff that we really may not really think about. So I think it's a good idea. It's kind of like the next gen console, the PS5 and the new Xbox that released a couple years ago or something like that, 3 years ago. Base games at the new price was $60, for the PS4 and Xbox One. Now for the new Xbox and the PS5, it's, $70 just for a new game when it used to be 60. So, with X-Plane 12 being the way it is now, they've had a lot of updates, and it's getting a lot more stable. I've seen a lot of performance optimizations. It looks better than what it did, especially if you get Visual XP, you get some ortho, you're golden. So it's definitely something that's worth it, and I know they're actually reworking the physics engine as well. So, and it's already good now. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this extra $20 per copy gets them to in the next year.
That's an interesting take on the matter. Yeah, a more positive take on the matter, and I do share a lot of your thoughts there, Captain Lee, on what you just said. I have been an advocate of flight simulation, generally speaking, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's X-Plane, whether it's anything to do with flight simming, anything that brings us closer to aviation, something that we, I think, all have a passion for. But more importantly, I think for me is to ensure that we provide the X-Plane world with all the love and support that we can to sustain that platform. And so to me, Microsoft Flight Simulator is an absolutely great sim. The scenery, the depiction of the world, all the high fidelity aircraft that are coming to it, without a doubt makes it a brilliant flight simulator that definitely brings hours of enjoyment to our flight sim experience. But I have an affinity for X-Plane from day one. I've always loved X-Plane. I've loved Laminar as a company, and I love the people that work for Laminar, for their commitment, for their intellect, and for everything that they brought into the flight sim, making an environment or a platform that very closely resembles flight physics. So we have kind of the best of both worlds with X-Plane and MSFS now. So we have one sim that accurately represents, or very closely simulates the world in which we live, and then we have another simulator that very closely resembles the flight physics. And so it offers, a very good competitive platform for the two companies to compete and develop and excel, improve, and for us flight simmers to enjoy. I'm not a fan of the war that that normally goes on. Oh, MSFS is this, X-Plane is that. This is better. If you're serious, go to X-Plane. If you like to play, go to MSMM. I do not advocate such stands when we're talking about flight sim, because I think each flight simulator offers something unique for us to enjoy, and I do enjoy both sims quite a bit. Another question for you: how do you deal with the changes? So we know that when in X-Plane 11, there were certain things that WED couldn't do, and then there was a new version, and then obviously you had to adapt to the new way of doing things for scenery development. So how do you deal with those changes when Laminar makes a change, and does it affect you from moving from one iteration to the other, or just one version to the other? So do you find it difficult when you moved from X-Plane 11 to 12, or is it equally challenging when you move from like 12.01 to 02 and so on and so forth?
It's the 11-12 switch was definitely painful. I absolutely hated it. I really did. Because when 12 first, when they had the beta release that came out, the new WED version for 12 was still in development. So when 12 released, I was working with X-Plane 12, but working on the X-Plane 11 WED version. So there were a few things that I had to kind of wait on, like the 3D vegetation being one of them. It was there, I just didn't have the choices as I have now. I have so many different types of trees I can choose from, depending on where I am in the world. In 12 they had the weather maps, or the puddles on the ground and stuff come into effect. That was also a pain because I had to learn how to create a custom weather map to be able to reference the polygon off of, so I could get that nice puddle effect in the X-Plane 12. So it's definitely annoying But honestly, if you're trying to make a scenery convert from 11 to 12 or 12 to 11, it's the same. So pretty much the only difference is the trees. That's really the only thing that's different. That's pretty much it. So I make the scenery in 12 first, and then after a little while, actually, I will put the scenery folder into X-Plane 11, and I will basically go in a wet and just change the trees over, make sure I don't get any errors in X-Plane 11, and it's good to go. So converting it over from like switching between the two, honestly, is not that bad. It's more of when new features come out is when it gets annoying. The 11-12 switch being more specific.
Gotcha. And how difficult it is to create the meshes? Something that's always interests me is the mesh and creating the. Ooh, we have Alex just gifted 5 Q8 pilot memberships. Thank you very much, Alex, for that. I appreciate it. Monthly celebration, a member as a senior captain for 14 months. Thank you very much, Alex. Thank you all, guys, for your support. DB Vetter, welcome. Glad to have you here with us today. Are you able to boost his voice audio a little? Captain, do you think you can boost your audio a little bit?
Let's see. I think I'm max actually right now. Yeah, I am.
Yeah, maybe if you can come closer to the mic, it would help.
Maybe. Is this better?
For me, it's fine, but I think guys on the stream are asking if you could raise the volume on your side.
Yeah, I'm max on mine, so.
Okay. Let me see if I can bring down the volumes there. Alex, thank you very much. Carl, I just realized that you're here with us. Thank you very much, Carl. Raul Rodriguez, welcome aboard, my friend. Glad to have you here. And we have also Rain Man. Thank you very much for being here. Cameron, welcome aboard, my friend. Quieter cabin. Let's see if we can do that. Let me set the temps here to 16 Celsius. And well, we're going to take a look at the weather in just a second here. The winds are 267, not too bad. I did a test flight yesterday, and the weather was just horrendous. It was really, really bad. So we're doing runway 30 today. Let's go to the approach and runway 30. We're going to look quickly here at the chart. Why is it not showing? I don't know. Maybe we need to close. All right, let me do that. Let me just close Navigraph real quick and reopen it.
I think I missed a few questions. Let's see this one. So, AJ said, I'd like to hear his opinion on the upcoming Microsoft Scenery Gateway versus the X-Men one. I'll answer that. Thanks for the scenery. I still spend 90% of my flights spending time in the X-Plane. I'm thankful for the developers that are providing content. Thank you. So to answer AJ's question, so as you know, Q8, Microsoft is coming out with their own scenery gateway as like X-Plane. I think it's a good idea, honestly, because Microsoft default airports are not, nothing against them, they're just not good. My hometown was completely 2D. There were no buildings, no hangars, nothing. There's a lot of airports like that actually. The terminals at default airports in Microsoft, they're like condos. They're literally like skyscrapers. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, but they don't look bad. So I hope that the Scenery Gateway offer can really like kind of change that aesthetic into being able to adjust heights or being able to change hangars to certain heights or just all that kind of stuff. Just kind of like X-Plane. Um, so definitely very something to look forward to.
There we go. We just reduced the sounds. Finally, I was able to reduce the volume of the cockpit so you guys can hear us a little better. There we go. All right. I hope that you can hear us better now. Perfect.
Will you go back and update previous sceneries to add new features? Yes, of course. I got a lot on my plate right now, so I'm going to try to knock these out as fast and quickly and profoundly as possible, and then I will probably go back, start adding some new tricks that I've learned since then, add some new features, change some things around, definitely make it more enjoyable. Like I said, I really don't like flying into my own airports that I make. I really don't like it. Like, we needed a good Knoxville scenery, TYS in Tennessee, and you know, I made it, but I just don't fly into it, and I don't know why. I just don't. Just kind of weird to me, I guess. I'll fly into other developers all day long, but mine, no. Yes, I will go back and update everything for everyone. So that's it'll be a good update.
So, any plans, Captain, to develop for MSFS? I know you've touched on that a little bit, but moving forward, do you think that you're going to tap into that world?
Yes, 100%. Earlier I said I'm kind of scared too because, you know, the oversaturation of developers. But sadly, you know, with the oversaturation of Microsoft scenery developers, is it's hard to kind of get your name in there, you know, out there. So, you know, if I were to go to Microsoft, what I would probably specialize in is some nice general aviation airports, some nice GA airports. I ain't gonna mess with regionals or anything like that. I would honestly let Vertical Sim go to those, or I let who is it? Dominic Design Team or Fly to High. I would let all those guys, you know, just deal with the regionals, but I would probably come in and try to do some GA stuff. Especially now that, you know, we have the A2A Comanche, great aircraft, in Microsoft. Very fun plane to fly. We're starting to get more business jets, starting to get a lot more, you know, stuff for Microsoft on the GA side rather than airliners. So I feel like it's definitely something that is looking to bound to happen. When, I don't know, but I do aim to get there eventually, just not at this current moment. So
I see. Have you ever been offered like a position in one of the, you know, scenery development companies, Captain?
Yes, I have. I'm actually on the Exonos team. I'm a developer over there. Of course, I am also the X-Plane guy for a Payware Microsoft team right now. So, you know, I'm converting their airports over. Can't say anything, can't say who, can't say the airports, can't say where it is, anything like that. But I am converting it over. There's going to be news coming out soon about it. Just can't tell you when, can't tell you anything about it. Rather not get fired. Rather not get fired, but it's definitely coming. Excuse me.
Excellent.
So, I am on the Exonos team, and I have done some stuff with FS Designs, and the owner is actually a good buddy of mine. So, you know, we did Pensacola and Jacksonville. Those were the two airports that we did. I do know you did stream Jacksonville. I remember that.
Correct.
I do know that. I do have plans to update that airport actually with some new things I've learned since then. I do have plans to update that, just not sure exactly when. But it will happen sooner than later. Just trying to find the time to do that.
Gotcha. There was a question from Blackjack62. Captain Lee, what was the first scenery you were talking about? The one with the NASCAR track?
Yes, that was KHMP. So Kilo Hotel Mike Papa. So over there, it's down in Georgia, United States. So that one is they're thinking about expanding the runway again to 6,500 feet. So if you like business jets, that's the airport to go into. We get a lot of Challengers. So yeah, that's that airport.
Excellent. Thank you. Dougal McTavish has put in a message for you, Captain. It says, Captain Lee, the flight sim would be a much poorer place in all respects without great people like yourself. Thank you, Dougal, for that. You're very kind.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's definitely wasn't my forte when I was 12 years old 6 years ago.
And we have from William.
Wasn't my forte, but.
Sorry, Captain. William Colbert says we need a good Lombard St. Louis or Springfield, Missouri National.
That one is done by Star Sim. He's a good buddy of mine. He's a very good dude. His St. Louis is very well made, actually. I don't know if you know about that one. If you do, I'd highly suggest going over there. If there are any issues, just put in chat. I can tell him. I'm sure he's gonna probably plan to update the scenery eventually, but it's definitely a good airport. So, and I don't want to try to compete with a good buddy of mine. So I'll leave St. Louis to Star Sim and let him deal with it.
That's that's the spirit, and that's something again I respect a lot in the developer community, that they should complement one another, not compete with one another for at least in the freeware world. And maybe when those freeware developers start with a project, I feel that the bigger payware companies should probably support them rather than compete with them. That's my take on this whole development, freeware development, for the community, by the community. So that shows the kind of person that you are, Captain Lee, and we appreciate having people like you in the community, and think having people like you is really what makes this community great. So really keep it up, and I really enjoy your scenery, and we're going to be taking a detailed look at our destination airport, which is developed by yourself. Now, Captain, do you develop those on your own? So is it just you, or do you have somebody helping you?
The only people that help me is for the models. Everything else I do. So everything in WED, so placing the trees, placing the models, placing the ground textures, the taxiways, all those are done by me. I'm the only WED guy, so I do all the WED work. I just have people to create the buildings for me, but I'm the only one that puts everything into the sim.
Oh, got you. Okay. So you don't necessarily develop the models, but you're the one that placed them in the right place in the sim.
Yes.
I see. Got you. Now, an interesting question that always pops to my mind when I'm down at any airport. Now, in the sim, obviously things are scaled down from real world. It's not exactly the same size. So, do you actually? So for example, the distance between the buildings, is that to scale? So, if it's, for example, 10 meters away in real life, do you do it like 10 centimeters, or how does that work?
In the modeling software that we use. Yeah, so basically how we do that is we go to Google Earth, and we take a screenshot of where the models we want to model is, and we basically use that as a reference, and when we put it in Blender, and it has literally the perfect dimensions, of the models. Um, so that's how we do it. I'm not sure about any other developer. That's just how we do it. I know that's how Xcoder does it as well. Um, I'm pretty sure. Um, so that's honestly just how we do it. We just go to Google Maps, Google Earth, take a screenshot, import it into Blender, and we just kind of use that reference. And we'll go to Google Maps. And we'll just like measure the distance from the farthest object to the other farthest, and we'll see how much it is in meters, and we'll insert that, and there we go.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's how we do that. And Google Earth actually does height of buildings too. So wherever your mouse is, that is how high it is above sea level. So you just gotta do some quick math, and you can figure out how tall it is.
Wow, that's very interesting. And how easy, or let me say, let me rephrase that. How flexible WED is, and how much automation does it provide you as a developer in terms of, for example, placing the VOR stations, ADF, or NDB stations, beg your pardon, the ILS frequencies, the comm radios at the airport. Is that automatic, or is that something you have to worry about as a scenery developer?
The ILS frequencies and all of that is done automatically. Um, Thankfully, that part is easy. So when I first start, I hit create an airport, enter the ICAO, enter the elevation, enter a few other things, and that part is done for me. And then I'll place the runways, and I'll enter like the width, the length, just some basic information. And then after that, the ILS frequencies are already there, the comm radios, all that stuff is already done. So I don't have to worry about it. That's all done on Laminar. So,
Oh, wow. So you're really
but now,
yeah, go ahead.
now the ground textures, the taxiway edge lines, the taxiway lines, all that stuff, the ground markings, everything besides the ILS comms, or the ILS frequency, the radio comms, and the AWAS and all that stuff, all that is done automatically. The rest I have to do myself.
I see. Oh, that's quite a bit of work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There is a question from HD Simulations. It's a question for Captain Lee if you would consider doing KMCI or KTUL.
I have considered both actually, and it's still in my head. Fun fact. Still looking around, still trying to see what I can do. But it's definitely something on my list. Just can't tell you an estimated of time arrival. I see someone put up here, Rain Man, put Jax is my home airport. Thank you for doing that one. No problem. It was fun. It was annoying, but it was fun. DB Vetter said I like Jacksonville. No problem. Thank you. So yeah, MCI and Toll. That's definitely something that's on my list. I think it's Tulsa, is K Toll. That one is a lot of models. So it's definitely something to look into. But I just can't tell you when exactly.
Gotcha. Now, here's a thought for you, Captain Lee. There is a scenery gateway that Laminar has, and it's available for the community to develop airports and upload them there. And the guy in Laminar responsible for the scenery gateway is actually a good friend. A guy by Julian Lockwood is the guy. Have you ever considered working with Julian on creating, enhancement packs for the airports that already exist in the scenery gateway, and maybe work directly with Laminar on those, or do you prefer the current format that you're, working with?
I honestly, I enjoy being where I am now. I honestly couldn't do something like that. I don't want to kind of, take away from, what they're supposed to do. So yeah, I just kind of like where I am now. It's very enjoyable. I work on my own time. If I teamed up with Laminar and I kind of did that, then I'd be hold to a deadline and I'd be hold to certain stuff, and it would be more turning into a job than a hobby. Of course, I do payware, so obviously, I get paid. But it's like a hobby job more than just a job. Um, it's just a hobby to me. Like I said earlier, like I could do it for free or payware. It doesn't matter to me. I just enjoy making scenery. If I teamed up and joined Laminar and try to help them out with, gateway airports, they would start, holding me to a certain deadline and holding me to a certain standard, and I would be working on their time instead of my own, which isn't really something I really enjoy. So that's that.
That's very interesting that you say this, Captain. The reason being, this is exactly my philosophy with content creation. So when I started, with the YouTube channel, I started creating content for Flight Sim. I remain pretty much a very neutral guy. I was not affiliated with anyone. And when I started, partnerships with a few companies, I felt that one, you cannot obviously bring a totally unbiased version of a review or a showcase to the community, because obviously, you've either been compensated or, you've been given the product for free. So you're under an obligation, one, to do the review with a specific timeline. And obviously you cannot, you can say that you're going to, give your honest opinion, but, I don't think the developer is going to like it if you bash their product in any way. And, and so that was always my precondition for anything that was given free to me to review on the channel, is that, look, guys, I'm going to take a look at it. And that's why by the way, I pay for everything that I review on the channel. And if that's not the case, then I very clearly state that. But the thing is that's very similar to you is, once it becomes a job, you lose really the passion for it. It becomes a job. It becomes about deadlines and meeting the deadlines and making sure you don't say things that will upset the developer, or and that's not me. I enjoy the hobby aspect. I enjoy the fact that I am free to say whatever I want to say, because look, I've paid for this product, the full price, and I'm gonna tell the community exactly what I think. And I think I completely understand where you're coming from there. They're asking, Thrust Head Simulation asking, what do you do for a living, Captain Lee?
I'm actually still with my parents, still in high school, and I just kind of do this as extra pay in the pocket, I guess. So I really don't do anything for a living as of now. Won't have it for a little bit longer, but yeah, I'm just chilling out, enjoying the freedom with the parents while I have it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember those days. That was a very long time ago, but yeah.
Fun times.
Are there any plans to do scenery in Oceania, as there are not many good freeware or payware scenery? That's actually true.
That continent is very, very untouched. There's a few over there, but there's really not many. Over there, though, I would like to do, sadly, like I said earlier, at the very beginning of the stream, it all comes down to demand, right? So, of course, I would really, really like to do Auckland. I would love to do Auckland. Definitely an airport that's needed. It's not been done before. Very untouched, and Auckland. There's a bunch of routes for Auckland, especially long hauls. There's some others like I would really like to do Bora Bora. Would love to do Bora Bora. Such a beautiful approach. Very cool airport to go into. The sad part about that is we need an ATR. So over there in that way, I would really want to do Auckland. It's probably one of my top, oh boy, one of my top Oceania routes or airports that I would really like to do is Auckland. So
Cool. Yeah, that's interesting. It's very the development for flight sim is an interesting thing. Whether it's scenery, whether it's a tool, whether it's an aircraft, and yeah, I really can't wait to see more. Another part of the world where it's really lacking is the part of the world where I'm from. So the Middle East region, there are very, very few good scenery of this part of the world. I know that Kuwait, for example, has received a lot of love in MSFS. As a matter of fact, one of the best freeware scenery available for Microsoft Flight Simulator is that of Kuwait International, and so I'm very grateful for that. A guy by the name of Yahya has developed the airport, and it's a lovely, lovely rendition of the airport, as well as Kuwait City and many of the landmarks. So is that something that is also easily doable in X-Plane, developing the actual city with the landmarks, or is that difficult?
sadly for that area, it can be very difficult, and I honestly would leave it to those Microsoft guys to bring it over to X-Plane. Um, so Microsoft devs, if you're in chat, reach out to me. um, but yeah, sadly, one of those airports are very hard to come by and explain. Because of on Google Earth, if you go to that airport, it's more likely not going to be 3D imagery. So it's going to be very hard to model those buildings, see where it is. It's going to be very hard to basically get that foundation of that model. So if you go to the other major cities like London or something, or Atlanta or San Francisco, those airports are 3D, so it'll be much easier to be able to model the buildings, and you can even see for yourself how much difficulty it could be without having that 3D imagery for that airport.
Gotcha. Here is a question from Sachin V Aviation. It says Kona, Hawaii needs a better free, rare, or a payware scenery. That in his opinion.
Kona, Hawaii. Kona, Hawaii. I'm trying to place where exactly that is with those islands. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. That would honestly be such an interesting airport to do. Just because the terminal area looks like mini houses. It's on that would honestly be a very interesting airport. Very fun airport to make. I mean, I wouldn't say yes. I'm not going to say no. But it's definitely something I can look farther into just to see, how we could do this. But no promises, but I will definitely take a look into it. And, I always take airport suggestions. So if there's something, that you think that will sell well, or, do you even have nice downloads for, or, it's very needed for X-Plane, let me know. Might not be a promise that I'll do it, but I'll definitely look into it.
That's great. Well, you guys heard Captain Lee. If you have any suggestions, just go ahead and post them here. By the way, Captain Lee is is available on the Q8 Pilot Discord under Tearware Designs nickname. So if you go to the Discord server and search there, you'll be able to find him. So you can, of course, ask him any questions there. There is a specific channel for scenery and plugins on the Discord server that you can go and ask any question that you want. And you can also put in your suggestions there as well. By the way, folks, today we are using Active Sky without Visual XP. And one of the things I do like about Active Sky is how the weather changes. You know, as you can see here, we started seeing the formation of the clouds, so it's not abrupt. It's a little faster than what I would prefer, but you can see that the formation is not an abrupt thing, which is pretty good. I know that the cloud shapes and the type of clouds will be improved to a great extent in X-Plane 1208, a version of X-Plane 12 that I'm really anxiously waiting for. Really can't wait to see it. Captain, do you know if you're going to have to change any of your scenery for 1208, or is it pretty much backward compatible?
It's more likely going to be backward compatible with everything. I know really the main things is, engine model improvements, landing gear physics, and fuel temperature model differences, all that kind of, small stuff about aircraft. But more than likely, I won't have to do anything. Kind of like, 12.01 and 12.02 and all that stuff. I didn't have to do anything. So that's a good thing.
Gotcha. Well, that's good. At least you know that you're not going to have extra work to do to go back and update all your airports. So that's good to know. What was the most
relieving?
Yeah. What was the most difficult airport that you've developed thus far?
Thus far, let's see. I wouldn't really say difficult as more time consuming, because I kind of look at every airport the same. So when I go into the airport, I'm not gonna be like this is gonna be very hard. It's just one airport might be more cluttery than the other, or one airport might be a lot more closer to things as others, or just stuff like that. But probably the most difficult or time-consuming one, it would probably have to be Buffalo, honestly. Buffalo, Niagara. I still did it within a month, but it was constant work. That airport took me over 200 hours to do.
Oof.
Just probably a little bit less than that, actually. Let me see here. Just because of all the stuff that I had to do with it. Yeah, probably about 150 to 200 hours was spent on that project. Same thing with LFMT. That one was probably about 100-ish hours or so. So a bunch of hours I missed out actually flying in the sim, but it's worth it.
Wow. I did like LFMT a lot when I downloaded the scenery and I fired up the sim, and I said, wow, that was my first impressions. Like, wow, he's really done a very good job there. Even the photoreal textures and the placement of the buildings, the actual models of the buildings are quite nice. The taxiways, the textures, the night lighting is exceptional. Let me ask you, have you done anything with the night lighting at that airport? Because it really does look very nice.
I did a bunch of that, actually. So Night lighting is definitely something I take serious. I'm not a night person, a night flyer, but recently I have been enjoying nighttime more, especially, with Visual XP. You can change the brightness and the bloom and all that stuff with Visual XP. And I even have the extended nightlight mod to, get the lights to kind of spawn out more. So since then, I've kind of like really enjoyed flying at night, but I know a lot of people enjoy night flights. So I really like to take care of the night lighting aspect of the airports. So how I do it is when I reference the lights, I will literally go on the imagery that I'm referencing off of, and I'll actually see where the lights are. And sometimes I may even go on Google Earth or something, go on Street View, and try to get the same exact light that's in real life into the sim. Not the
Wow.
exact light, but it is the same type of light, so it kind of gives you that same realism of this is this type of light, this is this type of light, blah blah blah. So each an individual light that you see is actually each an individual place. Um, like the blue edge lighting for the taxiways, that is actually every single one of those lights are actually individually placed by me referencing off of the imagery.
Oh, wow, really?
Yes,
Oh,
so
no wonder
probably
it takes
more
so many
than
hours. Wow.
more than likely over 200 hand placed lights.
Oof. Wow. That's quite some. It amazes me that, how much hours you spend and, you're doing it for free. I mean, really, when an individual has passion for something, you can go to just really such broad tangents to, and such great, you know, difficulty to do something that you really have the passion for. And
Oh yeah.
I just really commend that. It's amazing. It's just absolutely amazing.
It's definitely it's definitely something I never saw myself, 1 year ago. Because it's starting to head more serious now into, tailware designs going payware. So it's starting to turn into something that I didn't really mean for it to happen, but if it happens, it happens. I've gotten plenty of people, ask me like, do you accept donations? I turn them down. So, this is kind of a thing of, if you want to support me, go for it. You're not, I'm not making you or forcing you, but, I have gotten a lot of requests to say, hey, do you accept donations? And I do turn them down. Um, but, this is a chance for those people to support me for all the freeware airports I've done. So that's pretty much that.
Wow. Well, I'll definitely support you. So you've got one supporter there for sure.
Thank you. um,
All right. We are approaching 10,000 feet. We have turned on our landing lights. We are almost at our destination. Good time for us to check the weather real quick here at our destination airport. So let me go to the weather here, and we can see that the weather is quite yeah, it's quite nice. 260 degrees, 6-knot wind, cloud visibility okay, 15 Celsius, QNH 1017, no significant change in the next couple of hours. So we are expecting light winds as we approach the airport. Visibility is great. Skies are pretty much clear, and we are now below 10,000 feet at 250 knots. And this is actually a nice area, quite mountainous there, as well as you can see here. There's some terrain over there. And yeah, we are almost at our destination now, flying the updated version of the Toliss A319 and heading over to one of Captain Lee's Freeware Scenery. Again, folks, the link to our destination airport is provided in the description section of the stream and also available through chat command Scenery, where you'll be able to download the link not just to LFMT, but also to all the freeware scenery available from Captain Lee.
Someone asked, do you make airports for fun or money? For fun. It's more for fun. Like I said earlier, it's therapy to me. It's my depression pill. That's just what I do. Listening to music and making scenery, that's home to me. It's kind of like home. It's just what I enjoy. It's fun.
That's
Now,
great.
if you want Q8, I actually just sent you a few pictures of the upcoming scenery coming out this week. If you want to showcase that on stream, feel free to welcome.
We can do that?
Feel free to.
Oh. Oh, look at that. So what exactly is, which airport is that?
That's KHMP. That's the airport next to the racetrack. So that's the racetrack right there.
Oh, look at that.
That building right there is actually condos, fun fact. And then there's the FBO. The FBO does have an interior as well.
Oh, look at that.
So, and then there, just above that one is actually, yeah. So that's the FBO. And then there's the Speedway in the background. So the picture above that one I sent you, actually, if you scroll up just a little bit, that one right there on the right.
Right.
Yeah. So that one actually, that's the entire area, actually. So definitely very, very interesting to look at. And that's 2-4 on the one closest side to you, and runway 6 on the other side. So
Wow, this is great.
Yeah.
Looks great. Can't wait for this one for sure.
yeah, very fun to fly in with business jets.
Yeah. Wow.
So, and when you
Well,
come
you're
on
pretty
in,
busy
actually,
creating scenery all the time, aren't you?
24/7.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent.
My full-time hobby, as I like to call it.
That's great. That's really great.
Do you let people test airports that you make for X-Plane? I have in the past, but typically I really don't. It really just depends on how big the airport is. I'll fly it into a few times, make sure everything looks good. I'll go around, look into detail, see what's missing, see what needs to be added, see if there's any weird architecture of the buildings, just anything like that. I've done beta testers like 2 times out of all the airports I've done, and that's really it. And I always kind of, every single time I say this, people typically don't agree with me. When every single time, a developer releases something, no matter what it is, whether it's a aircraft or a scenery or some type of visual add-on or whatever, I always count version 1.0 as a public beta. Always. And this is where people usually start fuming. I always count it as beta because I always count it as a public beta because version 1.0 is not going to be near perfect. There's usually going to be bugs that, beta testers couldn't even find, or, maybe there's something that the developer couldn't find, or, maybe a local found something, or maybe a real-world pilot found something that, was wrong with the aircraft or the scenery or whatever. So, when I do scenery, I always take feedback for version 1.0. Like, hey, if you have something that I need to fix, email me, contact me on the forums, message me on Discord, something, always. Because I always count 1.0 as a public beta, always. So now if you're releasing a product, when it's in version 0.7 or 8 or something, then we have an issue. But if everything is complete as per you say, and there's really nothing else missing, and you just maybe missed a few things, always count it as public beta. Um, so that's kind of my philosophy on version 1.0.
Gotcha. And do you follow like proper version control, like in really like sound development practices, or is it pretty much willy nilly?
So what do you mean by that?
So normally there is like a development, the development life cycle, whether you're doing like a waterfall approach for your development. Obviously, you're developing software, so sometimes you have proper version control and you protect your versions, and you release code and check in, check out, do all that stuff. Or is it pretty much what you like to do? Do you comment your code, for example? Do you follow any like proper development practice, or do you just do your thing and that's it?
I have a flow, but I just always go by the flow. I just kind of go back and forth between freeing it and just kind of like going by my flow every single time. Because it's kind of like muscle memory, as everyone likes to call it. When you do something after the first 2 or 3 times, it's just over and over and over again. After that, you get adjusted to that flow. So
Gotcha. Well, folks, we are almost at our destination, and we are at 6,000 feet for 2,000. We're looking pretty good right now. Speed is good. I've just set auto brake to medium, and we've armed the speed brake. Flaps still we can do. If we look here, we are gonna come out of the 10 nautical mile range, as you can see here. So as we begin our turn, we're gonna activate the approach, and then we'll start configuring flaps at the 10 nautical mile ring here. So far we're doing good. This is the center fix, and then the final fix for we are about 4,000 feet, so we're doing pretty good. And yeah, almost there now. Can't wait to show you the actual scenery. Let's take a look at the outside real quick. That's where we are.
I gotta
Beautiful.
answer a phone call right quick, everyone. I will be right back shortly.
No worries.
All right, I'll see everyone as soon as I can.
Sure. Where do you build your airport, from home or studio? Sachin, I believe Captain Lee does it from home. All right, so Barrow. Right, let's check our barrow real quick here, which is 1015. 1015 is now set. There we go. 1015. And we're going to go ahead and activate the approach. Landing. There we go. On both sides. We're making our turn here. Looking good. I'm sorry if you've asked a question that I wasn't able to respond to during this stream today. But I sure do hope you guys enjoyed the interview with Captain Lee. Hopefully I can bring more of these interviews to you guys and give you the perspective of developers in the community, and hopefully we can get some of the Microsoft Flight Sim guys as well to come and speak to all of you guys. All right, we have the localizer captured. We can see the glide slope needle there as well. We are looking good. 2,600 for 2,000. All right, 2,500, looking good. Excuse me. All right, we are now exactly at the 10,000 at the 10 nautical mile rink here. As you can see, in the approach phase is now activated. You can see the aircraft is decelerating, and we're looking good here for the approach. Well, let's go ahead and cabin crew seats for landing, please. All right, all's looking good. We can see the glide slope needle now started moving. And at this point, we can go speed check flaps 1. All right, we're going to change the range to 10 nautical miles. I still don't have the runway in sight. All right, speed check. I do have the runway in sight. Speed check flaps 2. Landing gears coming down. Welcome back, Captain Lee. Just in time for our landing. Speed check flaps 3. Cabin is ready.
All right.
Speed check flaps full.
Let's see what I missed. Didn't know what muscle memory was. Thanks for explanation. Yeah, no problem. Muscle memory is very common in sports phraseology. Where do you build your airport, from home or studio? From my room, right in my home. How do you make sure of scenery performance? Do you have a measurement guide or something? No. Scenery performance is definitely something I get questioned a lot. There is one in particular thing that we can go by, and so in Blender, when we are modeling these buildings, we can go by the tries count. So basically, the more tries that we have, the worse the frames are going to get. Okay, so basically, and it also goes by like polygons basically as well. So there's a lot of models where you can have unnecessarily polygons that doesn't need to be there and all this stuff. So it's definitely something people need to watch out for. And there's a fine line between very extremely highly detailed models and performance good models. I try to go for performance good. I don't want to demolish people's frames just to get spectacular models. So I like to have a good balance.
Reversers are out, and by the way, guys, you didn't hear the oral warnings. That's because I think the sound volume was. I put all the sounds down so you guys can hear me and Captain Lee, and for that reason you were not able to hear the 10-5 whatever. But I hope you guys enjoyed the landing. Thanks, Dan. Thank you, Stellar Things. Thank you very much, guys. And we have made it safely here. We're going to make a return right here. Oh, look at this airport. All right. There we go. We can start retracting the flaps. Now, I am tempted to do a replay, but in all the attempts where I've done the replay, we have failed. So I'm not sure if maybe we can turn off, let me see here. Let me close Navigraph and let me close Active Sky. And what do you think, Captain Lee? Should we attempt the replay or should we skip it?
Let's park at the gate first, and then maybe take a detailed look at the airport, and then see if the replay works.
Yeah, that's probably going to be too long for us to do the replay because yeah, we can always start explain, but when you do scenery for an airport, can you account for airport changes that haven't hit the base sim program yet? For example, my home airport of 21 Delta has a new runway, yet explain still shows the old.
Yes, there is a way we can actually model the new runway, or runway number changes or anything like that. Typically, it's usually told by locals, or it's usually told because usually Google Earth is not updated. You may even have to find Bing or something, which is also something you gotta look into. Bing is usually updated the most for all the airports, so it's kind of something I like to look into when starting, to make sure there's no construction or new runways or new taxiways, because I like to model those if possible. So I'm sure X-Plane will update it eventually. They just got to get new data, and they'll probably update.
Okay, I'm getting a message here that YouTube isn't receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. I hope that's not an issue at your end. At least it happened after we've completed the landing, but I do want to show you guys the airport. So hopefully that issue subsides. Give it replay a try. What do you think, Captain? Should we give it a try? Buffering, yes. Okay. So,
let's see.
Yeah, small stutters. I think there's... I can always do... Okay, let me try one thing, guys, real quick here. Stutters here. Okay. All right. Hopefully that will bring it back. YouTube, okay now. All right, perfect. All right. Okay, so we are going to turn on the APU bleed. What do you think, Captain Lee? Should we attempt to do the replay?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right, I think people like to see that kind of stuff, so we'll just try, and if it fails, then we'll just restart X-Plane, and we will we'll restart it. And we'll spawn the aircraft directly at the airport and start showcasing it. Seems okay now. Perfect. Excellent. So it's just going to take some time. All right, the aircraft now started moving, and I've turned off Active Sky and Navigraph on purpose because every time I have Active Sky on, the replay doesn't work. So it reaches the point where the aircraft is about to land and then just stops. So let's see if this works this time. All right. So far, so good. Oh, what do you know? We're actually going to have it. All right, here we go. Let's, there we go. That's the approach. Look at that, guys. Lovely approach.
There's also something I was trying to model, was them where the approach lights are.
What do you guys think? All right, let's do it one more time. All right, here we go. One of the things I like about X-Plane is the camera system. Look at the grass, very, very nice indeed. I guess we can start looking at the airport. And one of the things that struck me, Captain Lee, in this airport is how the grass was modeled, because it looks very, very nice for a Freeware airport. It actually looks amazing. Let me just bring you down here. How do you do that? How are you able to achieve that? The different colors. I suppose this is the reflection of the sun on the ground, but the grass is actually very, very well done on this airport here. If we change, let me change, remove the toggle replay, and now we can change the time here. There we go. That's very impressive. Very, very nice modeling of the grass in this airport.
So luckily, this is actually Mr. X grass used in his library. But I do have a buddy that actually modeled grass, and it's grass is probably from what I have heard and from what he's told me, grass is harder to model than a hanger. And the reason is because when you look at the grass closely, it's very dimensional. There's all kinds of different shapes. There's different sizes. There's all kinds of different things you can do with the grass. So, like again, I can speak from this just because I have a buddy that has modeled the grass for the other airports that I've done for Payware. So it's done in Blender, and it's just a bunch of different headings of which way the grass, different types of way it's leaning, and the different colors is based on the polygon. There's all kinds of stuff. Grass is very, very time consuming, and it's very tedious. Not a very easy way of doing it, but yeah.
That's LFMT, again, guys, one of the Freeware. This is a Freeware airport. It just blows my mind that this is actually Freeware. Very nice modeling of the buildings, the placement of the vegetation, the use, of course, of ortho photos, done very nicely, blends very well with the rest of X-Plane. So you can see here, one of the things I always have a comment on is when, the scenery developers create an airport, it looks so out of place when you look, when compared with it, where it meets the default mesh of the sim. But you can see here how this is so well developed that it actually blends pretty nicely. You can see the definition here. But overall, it fits pretty nicely within X-Plane. I can again see it's here. Overall, this area probably the orthos don't look very good, but or the blend with the actual sim doesn't look all that great. But overall, an excellent work, excellent effort developing the airport. Looks like even the runway textures are custom, Captain, aren't they?
Yes, they are. They're using Mr. X library as well. So sadly, this is one of my older sceneries. So it's using libraries, but I do have plans to go back and actually change all that to go to my custom ground textures I've made myself um, in Substance Painter. So it's I do have plans to do that eventually. It won't be hard at all. This will be very annoying, but I'll eventually do it. Just need to get the time.
And this is what the airport looks like during nighttime, which is just beautiful. Very, very nicely done there with the night lighting there. We can make it even darker there. Again, very nice rendition of the airport. This is the taxi lights that you were talking about, Captain Lee.
Um, let's see. Yeah, those are. I hand placed those according to
Wow.
Google. So all hand placed. That is tedious, but it looks a lot better. A lot of developers actually get like a blue edge light string, and they just go along the taxiway, and it places it for them. Um, but in the real world, you it's actually more congested on the turns than it is on the straightaways. It's how it should be, anyways. Of course, each airport and stuff is different, but
Well, that's a really nice airport, uh, and commended effort by you, Captain Lee, on this.
thank
Again,
you.
folks, if you are interested in the scenery in this scenery or in the freeware scenery by Captain Lee, you can find it in the stream description. I've provided a couple of links there. Captain Lee, any final words for the community before we conclude our stream this evening?
Um, I mean, that'll do it for me. Thank you for all the love and support everyone showed me in the past. It's definitely been a long road. Like again, we do have our first payware coming up. We have a freeware releasing this week. Q8 was kind enough earlier to show everyone. So that's coming this week. Armorillo's coming as soon as I can get it. The models are finishing up, so everything's coming out shortly. I have teamed up with the Microsoft team to get their airports over to X-Plane. I can't say anything as of yet, but I'm sure I could probably post some things in Q8's Discord sooner or later. So thank you all so much for joining in and hearing me talk and asking questions. So it was very kind of Q8 as well to invite me. So
Well, it's been my absolute pleasure having you here, Captain Lee, today. Maybe next time we also want to hear about your real world flying experience. I know you're a real world pilot as well. So we're going to pick your brains on that next time when you're when you're with
yeah,
us. It's been an absolute pleasure having you. I really enjoyed listening to you. Thoroughly enjoyed really learning about the world of scenery development from you. It's a lot more laborious than I originally thought, and obviously it does take a lot of time to create those sceneries. And creating them for free out of passion is something that I commend. I want to thank all of you guys for being here on stream this evening. I hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope that it was insightful and useful for you. The time has come for us now to call it a day and for me to hit the sack. So until next time, please take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe, and bye bye for now.